The Enchanted Forest 3. Once upon a time, in a kingdom far away, there was a beautiful forest called the Enchanted Forest. This forest was different from all other forests, because it was home to magical creatures such as unicorns, fairies, and talking animals. One day, a young princess named Isabella wandered into the Enchanted Forest. She had heard many stories about the magical creatures that lived there and wanted to see them for herself. As she walked deeper into the forest, she saw a unicorn grazing in a meadow. The unicorn noticed her and began to walk towards her. As it got closer, the unicorn bowed its head and allowed Isabella to climb onto its back. Together, they traveled through the forest, encountering fairies, birds that could talk, and even a dragon. The dragon was friendly, and Isabella was not afraid. She spoke with the dragon and learned that he guarded a treasure hidden deep within the forest. Isabella asked if she could see it, and the dragon agreed to take her. When they arrived at the treasure, Isabella was amazed. The treasure was a crystal that shone like the stars in the sky. She reached out to touch it, but the dragon warned her not to. He explained that whoever touched the crystal would be granted one wish, but that wish would come with a great cost. Isabella was hesitant but decided to make a wish anyway. She wished for happiness and peace throughout the kingdom. As soon as she spoke those words, the crystal shattered, and a bright light filled the forest. When the light faded, everything was different. The animals were no longer talking, and the fairies had disappeared. However, Isabella knew that her wish had come true, and she felt a sense of peace in her heart. From that day on, when people entered the Enchanted Forest, they felt a calmness and happiness that they could not explain. Isabella knew that her wish had changed the kingdom forever, and she was proud of herself. She continued to visit the Enchanted Forest and, although the creatures no longer talked to her, she felt their presence and knew that they were still there. And so, the Enchanted Forest became a legend that was passed down from generation to generation. People would come from all over the kingdom just to see the calmness and peace that it brought. And the legend of Isabella and the magical creatures of the Enchanted Forest. The Enchanted Forest 4. In a land far, far away, where the trees stretched up into the sky and the flowers bloomed with vibrant colors that left everyone in awe, there lived a young girl named Lily. Lily had long curly hair and big, curious eyes that would wander to every corner of the forest she called home. One day, while wandering through the woods, she stumbled upon a hidden path she had never seen before. She followed it eagerly until she came across an old, rusty gate. As she peered through the bars, she saw what appeared to be an enchanted garden, filled with magical creatures and shimmering flowers. As she pushed the gate open, she gasped at the sight that unfolded before her. The garden was alive with twinkling lights and playful music that filled the air. There were fairies flitting from flower to flower and little elves darting in and out of bushes. Lily approached timidly, unsure of what to do. Suddenly, a tiny fairy flew up to her and said, "Welcome, dear child, to the Enchanted Forest. We have been waiting for you." The fairy then led Lily through the garden, pointing out all the wonders that lay hidden within. They met talking animals and mischievous pixies, and even danced with the leaves that fell from the trees. As the day turned to night, Lily knew she had to return home. She thanked the fairy for showing her so much magic and promised to return soon. From that day on, Lily visited the enchanted garden every chance she got. And as she grew older, she shared the secrets of the enchanted forest with others, spreading joy and wonder wherever she went. And so, the Enchanted Forest became a place of legend, whispered about by children across the land. It remained a secret place, known only to those who believed in the magic of the world around them. The Magic Garden. Once upon a time, in a faraway kingdom, there was a magical garden. This garden was filled with all kinds of flowers and plants, and it was said to be where the fairies lived. The garden was guarded by a giant dragon who would breathe fire at anyone who tried to enter without permission. One day, a group of children stumbled upon the magic garden. They were fascinated by the flowers, and they longed to explore the garden's secrets. but as soon as they stepped inside, the dragon appeared, breathing fire and ready to attack. The children were frightened, but then they heard a soft, gentle voice. It was the fairy queen, who had been watching from afar. "Fear not, children," she said. "The dragon is only protecting the garden. If you promise to respect the plants and creatures that live here, he will let you explore." The children agreed, and the dragon lowered his guard. They wandered through the garden, marveling at its beauty and discovering its secrets. They met the fairies, who showed them how to care for the plants and how to use their magic to make them grow. As they explored deeper into the garden, the children came across a dark forest. In the center of the forest stood a castle, surrounded by a moat filled with crocodiles. The castle belonged to an evil sorceress who had been banished from the kingdom many years ago. The children wanted to explore the castle, but they were afraid of the sorceress. The fairy queen appeared again and told them that if they could defeat the sorceress, they would gain her respect and her treasures. The children were brave and decided to take on the challenge. They crossed the moat, fought off the crocodiles, and entered the castle. The sorceress was waiting for them, ready to use her magic to defeat them. But the children were not afraid. They remembered everything they had learned in the magic garden, and they used their newfound skills to outsmart the sorceress. They defeated her in a magical battle and claimed her treasures. As they left the castle, the fairy queen appeared once more. She congratulated the children on their bravery and told them that they would always be welcome in the magic garden. From that day on, the children visited the garden every year, bringing with them all that they had learned. And the dragon always let them in, knowing that they were the magical creatures. In a faraway land, there was an enchanted forest where magical creatures lived peacefully. The forest was full of tall trees that reached the sky and shimmering streams that flowed gracefully. Butterflies with wings as big as a house fluttered their colorful wings, and birds with feathers of different shades chirped sweet melodies. Deep in the heart of the forest lived a kind fairy queen named Ember. She had long golden hair, sparkling green eyes, and a voice as sweet as honey. She ruled over the forest, keeping it safe and protecting it from harm. One day, a young boy named Jack stumbled into the forest. He was lost and scared and didn't know where to turn. The fairy queen saw him and took pity on him. She appeared before him and asked him what he was doing in the forest. Jack explained that he had gotten lost while playing in the woods and couldn't find his way back home. The fairy queen promised to help him find his way home, but first, he had to help her with a task. Ember had lost her magical wand, and she needed it to keep the forest safe from the evil sorcerer who lived in the neighboring kingdom. Jack agreed to help her find it. And they set off on a journey together. They traveled through the forest, crossing streams, and climbing mountains until they finally reached the doorstep of the sorcerer's castle. With the fairy queen's help, Jack managed to sneak into the castle, where he found the wand hidden among the sorcerer's treasures. As soon as Jack picked up the wand, the sorcerer woke up and chased after him. Jack ran as fast as he could, with the sorcerer hot on his heels. Just as the sorcerer was about to catch Jack, the fairy queen appeared and used her magic to defeat the sorcerer. With the sorcerer gone, Jack and the fairy queen made their way back to the forest. Ember gave Jack a warm hug and thanked him for his help. She then used her magic to send him back home, where he was reunited with his family. From that day on, Jack visited the enchanted forest whenever he could. He and the fairy queen had become the best of friends, and they went on many adventures together. And so, the enchanted forest remained a magical place full of wonder and joy, guarded by the brave fairy queen and her loyal friend, Jack.